Good Monday afternoon, everybody. My name is Eli Robinson. I am the Chief Trivia Officer here at Water Cooler Trivia, bringing you a weekly quiz recap. This week, some irrational trivia. If you saw the title of this and started to worry, I don't blame you because trivia is not supposed to be irrational, yet here we are. You can find us online at watercoolertrivia.com. We have a game for offices, coworkers, friends, family, groups, organizations to play every week to stay together, increase camaraderie, and hopefully learn something. And then we show up on Twitch and YouTube every week and go over the game. So the way that we set up this game, it said normally we like to think of ourselves as only sending rational trivia, but there's a certain celebration this week that has us feeling like we shouldn't just be perfect squares. For you guys who are into math humor, hopefully you enjoyed that one. Here's what the results looked like. Pretty freaking wild. So almost 60% of people who played our game this week got a perfect score. I imagine that that made a lot of people very happy. As we've kind of talked about before, easy trivia is popular trivia, and so our submission rate probably was through the roof. A median of 10 is like downright shocking. So if you weren't someone who gets a perfect score, that's totally fine. But we reckon that you would see 10s across the board for your trivia this week. So the last question and kind of the clue to everything, it said we'll be rational, and end with this question, even though our quiz theme could have gone on forever. If you were to take the beginnings of each of the questions to answers to questions 1 through 9, you get the start of what delicious constant that's honored on March 14th. So I have the answers written down here: 3.1415926, which hopefully for most people was like, oh, wait a second, that is pi. And yes, March 14th is, of course, Pi Day. 2 If by Sea and 6-Day War, I think, may have had a little, maybe a little bit difficult. Those are some social studies questions that people maybe would not necessarily know, but I think otherwise people generally did very, very well with this week's game and obviously enjoyed it. I wanted to talk about the tiebreaker because I would imagine that in your in your group that would have been the most important question as far as determining a winner this week. And so it said the Guinness Book of World Records currently denotes that Rajveer Meena of India was able to recite the most decimal places of the number referenced in question number 10. That was pi. How many digits did he recite when he set the record in 2015? So we've talked before about why we don't use average. So we use median to best determine kind of how the group did and how everybody kind of answered. So the median across every single person who answered the question today was 486. So the 50% of people guessed that he could recite 486 digits or fewer, and 50% of people could guess that he could 486 digits or more. What's so shocking about this is that the standard deviation of guesses was over 100, was about 100,000. So when you try to fit the data to a bell curve, you see that the numbers get really big. And why? That's because there's a lot of guesses out there that could be really, really high, right? So somebody out there would think like, somebody out there thinks that he can recite 340 digits, and somebody out there thinks he can do 1,000,000, which is representative of what I would think is a good tiebreaker question, because there's a lot of theoretically reasonable guesses out there, or should we say rational guesses out there. The answer is 70,000. He was able to guess 70,000 digits of pi, which if you think and look at kind of like what is so crazy about this is that so many people wouldn't have ever believed that. And it's always amazing, when you get to these questions, you're like, man, is it possible that this person's like actually like superhuman and can do something that I would never have imagined? But yeah, 70,000 digits. And so it's possible literally no one in your group guessed a high enough number. And so it was whoever guessed the highest number, which is really, really impressive and was a fun way to break the tie for a lot of these games. Once again, my name is Eli Robinson. This was some irrational trivia here at Water Cooler Trivia. Next week, we have a fun game associated with the seasons. But until then, keep on driving on.